Hope you're all back. The session 3 will be handled by Dr. V.K. Manavalasundaram, who is going to handle the topic titled Deep Learning in Data Mining and Machine Learning. Here are some information about our session speaker. Dr. V.K. Manavalasundaram sir received his PhD from Anna University, Chennai in the year 2013 under the networking environment. He completed his postgraduate in computer science and engineering and bachelor degree in information technology in the year 2007 and 2005 respectively. He has published more than 15 articles in various national and international journals. He has guided more than 50 undergraduate projects and 35 postgraduate projects. He has attended more than 40 national and international conferences held at various places. He has holding the editorial board membership as technical advisory in various international journals. At present, he is working as a professor and head leading the Department of Information Technology in Vellalar College of Engineering and Technology. He is a life member of various associations like ISTE, IAENG, etc. And he is acting as a doctoral committee member for various research scholars doing their research under Anna University, Chennai. He is an active member in doing various consultancy works to serve the society and placement training for the benefit of the student community. Now, I request Manavalan sir to take over the session. Sir?
Yes, good. Good afternoon to one and all present here. First of all, I thank for the coordinators for providing me the opportunity for Dr. Mainavati Madam and Ms. Kirpa. And I will ensure that the clear view of the deep learning, neural networks, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, how the data science is associated with this, the basic concepts and where it is applied will be clearly understandable in this session. So we will have the session of an hour. So we will have the basic terminology, what is meant by these factors, artificial intelligence and the machine learning and all those things, basic terminologies and applications. And in the upcoming sessions, we will be having the deep knowledge of each and every terms in detail. So today, what is machine learning? So before going to know what is meant by machine learning, we should be able to have the clear understanding of artificial intelligence. Basically, or as in human words or in understandable words, we shall say that artificial intelligence is the ability to get a computer to mimic human behavior in some way. That is, to have the human nature as like that, we are calling it as artificial intelligence. So we shall say that artificial intelligence is the overall view to have the mimic behavior of the human. Though we shall say like that, there should be some subsets to have the artificial intelligence. So if you are saying a subset of AI, we shall say that machine learning, deep learning, data science, neural networks, and data mining. So these are the subsets or a supporting factor to have the artificial intelligence. So in continuation with this, so we shall say that ML, that is machine learning, deep learning, and data science are the subset of artificial intelligence. So today in this session, now we are going to concentrate what is meant by machine learning. So I said earlier, ML is a subset of artificial intelligence, and it consists of techniques that enables computers to learn from the data patterns and make predictions for unknown cases. So that is enables computers to learn from the data patterns and make predictions for unknown cases. So now you see here activity, you consider or you do this activity. Now I have said what is meant by AI and what is meant by machine learning. Now you close your eyes and think about two terms: machine learning, artificial intelligence. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear these terms? Machine learning, artificial intelligence. Yeah, someone can answer me this question, which will be a support for me to handle this issue. Or you maybe come with the chat window. Okay. Machine learning, we shall say that enable computers to learn from the data patterns. Machine learning enables the computer to learn from the data patterns, whereas artificial intelligence provides the mimic behavior of the human. To have the mimic behavior of the human nature, we will be saying it as artificial intelligence. So to have the mimic behavior, machine learning is the major part involved in the artificial intelligence. Here. So, yes, someone is. What are you thinking about robots or any AI-based movie? So, we have seen the pictures of the robots in the left side or any AI-based machine learnings. So you have seen the robots in the first row, and the second row you have robots which is used in the military applications. And in third row, you will be able to see that how the robot is acting as a teacher. And like that, these are all the some of the behaviors of the robots. So there are having a number of behaviors, but we have illustrated here with only some behaviors. And you will also be able to see the AI-based movies. So in Tamil, we will be able to know that Indiran Indiran 1 and 2 is a big revolution which provides how the artificial intelligence works in the current day life. So it is graphically represented, though it is graphically represented in that cinema, but the theme of the cinema is a practical, and it is a practically oriented. Now it is used in the corporate lives. So robots is a form in the different way, and collection of these things that like robots and other behaviors will make the artificial intelligence. Have you thought about the following things: mathematics, statistics, data sets, data analysis, optimization, algorithm, and mining? So see here, we know what is meant by a mathematics or statistics or data sets or like that, etc. Machine learning is a science and art of programming computers so they can learn from a data set. A data set is just a collection of data, and it is the field of study that gives computer the ability to learn with or without being explicitly programmed. This is said by Arthur Samuel in the year 1959. So you have seen mathematics or statistics or data sets or data analysis, optimization, algorithm and data mining. So may I be able to know if you are using a Gmail, so what is the play of artificial intelligence in that? They are having different concept, but how it is function in the Gmail. Anyone can come with the chat window so that we will be more interesting in taking this subject. Okay. So to have the machine learning, so these are all the basic things, all has to be grouped together to have the nature of learning by the computer. Like starting from mathematics, you will be able to evolve the statistics of the data, and the different statistics you will be able to have the different type of data sets, and to validate the data sets you are in need of analysis algorithms. If you have more number of analysis algorithms, even though time consuming, and to have the good performance, we should have the optimization techniques. And if you are optimize the set of data sets or data, you want to know whether it is a labeled data or unlabeled data, whether it is a known data, whether it is unknown data. So you have to provide the algorithms which matches the data sets and the data analysis. And what is meant by a data mining in the view of machine learning? So data mining is the process of applying ML techniques, that is machine learning techniques, to dig into larger amount of their data that can be helpful in discovering patterns that were not immediately apparent. So the collection of all this will make the fruit of machine learning. Okay, what the Google says, what is meant by machine learning? So it is a scientific study of algorithms and statistical models that computer systems use to effectively perform a specific task without using explicit instructions, relying on models and inferences instead. So by knowing all these basic things, mathematics, statistics, data sets, data analysis, optimization, algorithm, and data mining, one can be able to easily know what is meant by a machine learning. So it is the study of algorithms and statistics models that computer system use to effectively perform a specific task. So we are saying it as a specific task without using explicit algorithms, relying on models and inferences instead. So what is meant by the traditional programming and the machine learning? So we will be saying it as a traditional programming model, and another one is we will be saying it as the machine learning programming model. So consider you are provided with one program and you have to solve and you have to launch that program. So what is the traditional way of approach in solving those problems? One is we have to study the algorithm first, and we will be writing the rules for the particular problem. And after writing the rules, we will evaluate the rules pertaining to the particular problem. And we will be analyzing the errors by studying the test cases. To clear the test cases, we will be able to analyzing the errors, and we will be modifying the rules of the particular problem, so that we will be able to find the actual mean of the problem, and we will be able to launch that problem. So this is a way of traditional way of programming model if you have some application. So what is the problem that was arised in the traditional programming model is, so you will find the long list of complex rules that will be having hard pretty to maintain. So what is the difference from the machine learning traditional model, traditional model programming and machine learning programming is, so we will have the study of that problem, and instead of writing rules for the particular problem, we will have the we will train the ML machine language algorithm with the help of different type of data sets. The data sets may be supervised data set or unsupervised data set, or it may be a semi-supervised data sets, and also the reinforcement learning. So by these different types of category. So these are not a very big algorithms. So if you have the supervised algorithm, so you will be able to have the labeled set of data. If you have, if you are identifying this is as a car. So if you are identifying that object as a car, so the label for the particular object is car. Automatically, if you are labeled, then you will be saying it as the supervised algorithm. If you are unable to, so if you want to find the model of the particular car, that is a main aim of the problem, then you will be saying it as the unsupervised algorithm. And semi-supervised algorithm is the model of the vehicle which is coming is a car, and we are unable to find the model of the particular car, then we will be saying it as the semi-supervised algorithm. And if you are not finding what the object is, then you will be saying it as the unsupervised algorithm. Same as reinforced algorithm is we are updating. So the car belongs to Maruti or belongs to RMW. So we will update the next spec of the particular object, then we will be saying as the reinforced algorithm. So using this type of data, we will train the machine learning algorithm, and we will evaluate the solution for the particular problem, and we will be able to analyze errors with the study of the particular problem with the help of machine language algorithm. And finally, we will be able to. So here, what is the difference between the traditional model and the machine language model is? So we are having the couple of data with a higher level of clarity of data. So using the machine language algorithm, we are defining the problem statement based on the needs of the customer, and we are launching to the vendor. Same as if it is a traditional model, so the different types of data has to be kept in the mind, and also we should have the different types of algorithm relevant to the particular data has to be kept inside the mind, and by having the clarity of the set of data and also the set of algorithms, we will be executing, and we will be checking for the test case, and we will be moving to the next one. So this is a way we will be able to fine tune the traditional method, whereas in the machine learning techniques, so we will have the enormous method which will provide the 100% performance or accuracy based on the techniques available in the machine learning. So what really is machine learning? Wikipedia given by the Google. So it is the scientific study of algorithms and statistical models, and that computer systems used to effectively perform the specific task without using explicit instructions, rely on models and inference history. It is seen as the subset of artificial intelligence. Machine learning algorithms built a mathematical model of sample data known as training data. In order to make predictions or decisions without being explicitly programmed to perform the task, machine learning algorithms are used in the applications of email filtering. So I have asked the question in the earlier, that is 5 minutes before. So finding the spam mails in your Gmail is one of the technique provided by the machine learning and the detection of network intruders and computer vision, where it is feasible to develop an algorithm of specific instruction for performing the task. Machine learning is closely related to computational statistics, which focus on making prediction using computers. The study of mathematical optimization delivers methods, theory, and application domains to the field of machine learning. So data mining is the field of study which machine learning and focuses on exploratory data analysis through unsupervised learning. In its application across business problems, machine learning is also referred as predictive analysis. So we have read out what are the terms that are provided in this machine learning. So we know that finally the word saying it as predictive analysis. So in Tamil we will be saying it as Parindurai. So what is the base? What is meant by an predictive analysis? So why they have given this type of predictive analysis? So to have the clear cut of machine learning, there are 5 stages of machine learning. First, we will understand what are the 5 steps of machine learning. First one is to get data, and next one is after getting the data, the next step is to segregate the data, prepare and manipulate data based on the needs of the particular problem. So first one is we have gathered the data, and next one is we have find the clear picture of the data, and third one is train the data, that is need to be functioned by the system, and fourth one is testing the data, and the fifth one is to improve the data. So stage 1 get data, stage 2 clean, prepare and manipulate data, third one is train model, and fourth one is test data, and fifth one is to improve. So before going to see this, we will have the simple realistical example how the car stops in the signal and the car starts in the signal. Consider car is a AI based, without human the car is riding. So the humans will be able to understand that if you are having red light, then we have to stop that vehicle, and if we have orange light, it is a time to start the vehicle and to be ready to go, and if we have the green light, the car shall pass the particular road. So this is the nature that humans may not know from their birth. So it is a learning strategy based on the driving school, or by the help of the father, or by sitting behind the driver. We will be able to, we have known that red signal is to stop the car, and orange signal is to make ready of the car, and green signal is to pass the car. As we have trained, as the human has trained this type of strategy, as like red signal, orange signal, and green signal. Same like that, we have to train the machines so that the machine will be able to act like a human. So that is what the third thing, train the model, test the data and to improve. So first of all, I have given 5 stages. So first one is to get the data, and second is to clean, prepare and manipulate data, and third one is to train the model, and fourth one is to test the data, and fifth one is to improve the data. So for the particular type of applications, you will be able to know that the data that we need is red signal color, orange signal color, and green signal color. And in the second stage, we will be manipulating the data as red signal is to stop the car, and orange signal is to start the car and to be ready, and green signal is to pass the car. So we have given the manual input, these three type of input, and using the sensors and other models, the machine has to act according to the rules provided by the data. So we will be trained the data by providing the sensors, like in the we will be showing the red color, and we will make the system to stop that particular system, and same like that, different colors. Green signal is to start the car, move the car. Like that, the following data we have provided different type of sets. We will be provided to the that is said to be the train model, is the stage 3, and in the fourth one we will be testing the data. So we will show the red color whether the vehicle is stopping or not, and we will be showing the green color vehicle start moving, and the fifth stage, we will be saying it as to improve the learning methodology. So the car has to be stopped only by the signal provided by the traffic post, not to be learned from the front going car. So while the front going car applies the brake, means the red signal will be applied to slow down the particular car and not to stop the car. And like that, if the red signal is in the traffic post like, means that signal is used to start the car. So like this, different case studies has to be provided to the particular mission, and we will be providing the practicing the mission based on the needs of the user. So whatever the human thinks, how we are making the human to be get better, like that we will be providing the mission to be get better, which you will be saying it as training the data. So this is really the need of the machine learning that is used in the day-to-day life. So here I have boxed certain uh, words: algorithms, statistics, models, mathematics, data, statistics, optimization, data mining, data analysis, and finally predictive analysis. That is based on that, we will machine learning will providing the effective result. So with the base of all these terms and technologies, we will be able to have the we will be able to do different type of projects using machine learning in a successful manner. In simple terms, it is the historical data to make future predictions. And next one is, it is the building model on historical data to predictions. And also taking training data, building models on the training data, using the models to make further predictions. And it is used to make the machine learns the pattern in the data. So why we are saying this type of simple term is historical data and predictive analysis, how it gets mapped or related with each other is, so If you have an automated car, and I have given the example as a traffic signal, and each and every scenario, you will be finding one bug in that. So as I said, and the traffic lights will also be red color, as well as the front moving vehicle while they are applying brakes will also be in red color. So like that, there will be a different type of logs will be created once we have run this mission in the system. So based on the findings of the particular mission, which makes the system more trained, more than the traditional model invented by the human beings. So the machines will be able to find enormous number of findings. Data is in different forms. So we are saying data in C language or in other languages in different way. So if you are saying data in C languages means you will be saying it as integer or float or character or strings, etc. So like that you will be saying in Python means dictionary or tuple or different forms of data you will be saying in the Python. So like that in machine learning, mainly the data is classified as numerical data, image data, video data, and the video data will also be comprising the sound data and also the text data. So these are the different types of data which the machine will be categorized as it is a number or is an image or video which contains sound file and also the text files. So applications of numerical data. So you all know that credit risk models, marketing analysis, and retail sales analysis and fraud analysis. So this is a type of numerical data. So simply we will be by technically we are saying this type of algorithm, this type of applications like credit risk models are marketing analysis, retail sales analysis, or fraud analysis. As in the way of machine learning, simply the simple example for this numerical data is crossing your ATM pin is also the one of the best example for the numerical data. So if you are inserting the card, if you are providing pins one or two times in the wrong manner, automatically what is the next step? Either the card to be get blocked or the particular person in the ATM center has to be get blocked. So this is a main applications of the numerical data and applications of machine learning, that is images and video data. So face recognition here to identify this is Manavalan or this is Sasikala madam, or this is like this the participants Divya P and like that. So finding the image and the face recognition is said to be the example for the image data. And if you are taking the car as an object and the car is moving with a higher sound means by getting the input of the car as well as the moving sound, we will be able to guess this data belongs to video and audio. So this data will contain both video as well as data. So if you are in going in detail about the video and audio means you will be having the pixels and we will have the noise ratio. So which will be having a large area in the video and audio recognition. And if you are finding the number boards in the car, then you will be saying it as the digit recognition. So these are the different categories of inputs that the machine learning will be getting the data for the machine learning. And this is the some of the introduction that I have provided to you to find the knowledge of the machine learning. So next we will be going to see about the deep learning. So as I said in the starting of this session, the subset of AI is machine learning. The subset of machine learning is said to be the deep learning. So deep learning comes as the supportive factor for the machine learning, and we will be saying it as the ANN. ANN is the subset for deep learning. So the base will be the neural networks, and the next stage will be the data learning, and the third stage will be the machine learning, and the final all put together machine learning, deep learning, and neural networks in collaboration with data science. We will be saying it as the artificial intelligence. So we will call ANN as the artificial neural network. Yes, it is the one of the subset, and as also it is the technique of machine learning, and which has the input layer, hidden layer, and as well as the output layer. For a real complex and non-linear data sets, we need several hidden layers. So artificial neural networks with multiple hidden layers is also known as deep neural networks. So we will have the data. So as you have taken the example as the uh, finding the numbers in the car or any type of examples. So we will be, the system has to be segregate. This is a number pertaining to the particular vehicle. And you will be writing the mobile numbers in the vehicle and all those things, though it has not to be considered. So for considering the value which is related to the particular problem, what the machine does is the art of working of the artificial neural networks. And deep learning, we will say artificial neural networks with a single layer is known as the shadow network, and with multiple hidden layers is also known as deep neural networks, as we have seen in the previous slide. And not just multiple hidden layers, sometimes the type of hidden layers is also be different. So we will type of the problem. So we will be having certain example with heterogeneity in their data collection. So we will have the different type of different pool of data. And these concepts of solving problems with multiple hidden layers is said to be the deep learning. So deep learning is the concept of machine learning that enables computer to solve more complex problems. So we are saying it as more complex problems. So the more complex problem, how we are get segregated, how we are finding the more complex problem. So this is what we are finding the way. That is, we will have the three layers. One is the input layer, and the next one is the hidden layer, and third one is the output layer. And by having the communication of both input, hidden layer, and output layer, and if more data is provided to the particular scenario, the user will be get confused if you have more data in the input or in the output model. So we'll make the data into the hidden layer, and if you have a single layer, then you will be saying it as the shallow network. And if we have the multiple hidden layer, we will be saying the deep neural network. And if we have different type of hidden layers, and to short out for having these layers, we will be saying for computing the input and with more number of hidden layers to provide the output. This will be the predictive analysis, or this will be the correct form of data is provided by the deep learning. So deep versus shallow network. And a neural network with single hidden layer is also known as shallow network, as we have seen in the previous page. So see, this is the graphical representation. So if we have the consider the input is to have the probability of four numbers. One is 1 or 0, or it may be a double one, or if you are having the 4 combinations, you think so. Whether it may be a 0 1 or 1 0 or 0 0 or 1 1. So if you want to find out the probability of what will be the output from the given input, so if you are having a single stage of extracting the output, then we will be saying it as the shallow network. And if you are finding whether if it is the 0 1 means again we are extracting based on the collection of data. Without the collection of data, we will not be able to go with the deep network. If we have a more collection of data, then we will be able to have the deep network. And as it is forecasted to the users, we will have only the one hidden layer. If you are extracting the hidden layer, we will have more number of layers. Consider here in this example, we have given 5 stages of hidden layers. So in the shallow network, it might not have the flexibility to capture all the non-linear patterns in the data. Here, if you are having the deep network model, so it learns the primitive features followed by higher level features. This helps in building different efficient model. So the deep learning provides the exact, nearable exact of the nature of the problem which is defined. So deep neural networks, it is the, we will be executing the more number of experiment have shown that the deep network with the less parameters perform better than the shadow network. So that is, instead of having with the single hidden layer, by having the extracting behavior from the primitive, that is primary data, to the higher order data, we will be able to have the exact behavior of the networks. So the deep neural networks are amazingly powerful with sufficient number of hidden layers and nodes. We can fit a model to any type of data. So this can be powered to capture any amount of non-linearity. So if we have a linear model, then you will not have any problems in that. So consider if you are having the numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you are saying it is the linear model, then you will be saying it as either it will be presenting in 1, afterwards 2, afterwards 3, afterwards 4, and 5. And if it is the higher order thing, higher order model or the lower order model, you will be coming from the higher end to the lower end, or from the lower end to the higher end. So if you are taking these types of machine learning, so what it does is input, future extraction, classification, and finally whether it's a car or it's not a car. This classification is the job of the deep.
Good afternoon, IT.
So let us get extract.
Hemant sir ఇక్కడ లేదు మేడం, ఆ రూమ్ లో ఉన్నారు. ఓ నిమిషం మ్యామ్.
So this is a way. In the above picture, we have seen the overall way, and the classification is highly extracted in the lower level diagram, future extraction and the classification. So we will be able to find the data even as a linear object or it is a non-linear object. It will be able to find the data clearly using the support of deep learning. And what is data mining? So we will be saying it as the data science. So it is the technique to dig into large amount of data that help discover patterns that were not immediately apparent. So it is the process of discovering patterns in data. So consider the example, Twitter and Facebook can't predict the election, but they did prediction what you are going to have for lunch. Tuna salad sandwich or you are having the wrong sandwich. So data mining, see that Twitter, so Facebook and all others, so WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever may be the social network case. So the data are the users or the daily data transaction between this user to user has crossed 1.5 billions and above. So though it has crossed the 1.5 millions above in the given account, as you mentioned as Twitter or Facebook, it has to be predict the data and it has to be organized and it has to be secured and it has to be performed in the correct way. So what is the role of data science in finding, take for an example as the any type of social networks. What is the role of this data science? One is to data driven decision making, whether we have to provide permission or whether it has to be done with the particular group or with the different group. And next point, making sense out of the data. And third one is finding hidden patterns in the data. So that is extracting the non-linear inputs in the given data. And fourth one is analysis using not just simple learning models, but also using data visualization and intelligent reports. Most of the techniques and tools seen in the data analysis in early days are now falling under data science. So the last line you may know or not, we shall be able to say that. So if you are using the Excel sheets and you will have the different type of charts or pie charts or any linear line chart or any type of charts, and these analysis that is provided inputted by the humans and it has to be provided, the analysis has been given by the various type of softwares, not only the Microsoft Excel or open source or etc. So the inputting of the data is depends on the humans and the linearity and also the data, whether they have entered the correct data is has to be ensured by the humans by writing different rules in the input parameters. Like that, in the traditional way, they have more number of challenges in this, but in this, all this comes as a portion of the data science, not as 1%. It is less than the percentage as a portion of the data science. So as we have studied earlier mathematics, what are the support factors for the machine learning? Like the data science is a fusion of many fields like mathematics, statistics, coding, database management, data analysis, predictive modeling, machine language, and deep learning. So data science is a provides the four major types of skills. One is collecting the different levels of databases and the higher level of databases and finding the data into that and finding the categorized data based on the needs of the particular problem and how it has to be get presented. So the job of this data science, database, big data, or the analytics of and the machine learning and the presentation. So the techniques will involve the techniques involved in the data science will be able to project the factors provided in this presentation. The techniques you need to know. Sorry, I will again share my screen. The techniques you need to know: database knowledge. We are saying it as a database knowledge. So what is the subset of data set knowledge provided as database management, data blending, querying, data manipulations, etc. In the same category, big data knowledge, what is meant by the parallel computing and what is meant by distributed computing, and how the data can be processed in the structured way of approach as well as the unstructured type of data analysis. The same as predictive analysis and ML, what is meant by the basic descriptive statistics, and what is the advanced analysis and the predictive modeling, followed by that how we are getting the data, train the data, and how we are improving the data based on the analysis will be provided by the machine learning. And the presentation skills like data visualizations, report design, and insight presentation. So we say it as a data mining. What is meant by a data mining, and here what is meant by the data science. So if we have these four different views of factors like database knowledge and big data knowledge, predictive analysis and machine learning, and the presentation skills, even though we have more number of ideas, more number of advanced techniques and all those things, it has to be presented clearly to the needed persons or to the needy persons, so that they will be able to know what we have done. So these are the more factors, four factors which rule the data science. And machine learning tools and softwares that we are using in this is, for the database tools, we have used SQL or MySQL as a database, and we shall use Oracle also. And for the big data, we are using Hadoop or Hive or Pig or Mahout, Spark, Java, etc. And for analytical tools, we will use SAS or R or SPSS, Python, Vega, MATLAB, and TensorFlow or OCR. And for the presentation tools we will be using Tabula, ClickView, or etc. So these types of tools will provide the inbuilt function which allows the user to go with the proceedings of the problems itself, not to be get ready with the problem. So consider if you want to combine the images, and if you know the label of the given data, if you are providing supervised, automatically it assumes that the machine assumes that it is the data with the label. Like that, these using these tools, we'll be able to have the inbuilt functions. So our aim is to provide the project or to make the project not with have the in-depth knowledge of the tools provided in this. So if you are going with the certain type of tools, based on the type of your algorithms or problems, you may go with the methods. So finally, machine learning is the part of data science. So this is what I have insisted from the very first. Artificial intelligence is will have the more number of subsets. The subsets will be machine learning, deep learning, data science, that is data mining with data science, and also what is the next one? ANN. What is meant by ANN is the ANN is the artificial neural network, which provides the form subset for the deep learning. So this is the basics of artificial intelligence. I hope that you'll all have the familiarity of all those factors like artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and data science. And also, you know what are all the supporting factors for each and every methods provided in this. So if you have interested in doing some of the problems like to identify the car signal like that, etc. So instead of having the more number of higher end soft machines, so if you have NVIDIA Jetson Nano or Google Coral Edge DPU, or if you have Raspberry Pi 3B plus neural network computing stick too. So these components like NVIDIA and Jetson NetFlow or Coral Edge DPU, or if you are going Raspberry Pi, it will cost around 10 to 15,000 only for making the entire set. So which makes your students to have the real-time example of what we are going to speak in the upcoming days. And if you have these any one devices, it's very easy to make your students to be understandable with the concept of AI, or to make the roadmap for the students to do many projects in the artificial intelligence. So thanks for the opportunity provided. Thank you. And if you have any doubts or queries, you may come in the chat window. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, it was a very informative session. You have covered all the basics of artificial intelligence, data mining, machine learning, and deep learning. So it would have brought clear insights into all the topics for our participants. Thank you very much for your session, sir. Participants, if you have any queries, you can ping in chat box. We will wait for 2 seconds for getting the questions. If you have any questions, you can type in chat box so that our speaker will address the questions. Sir, there is one question. For feature extraction from a large data set,
yes,
which
please.
method will you suggest?
Okay, I will suggest the method for the future extraction of the that is in machine learning. You will have these extraction of data preparation. So this is done with the help of tabular algorithm method. So we'll be saying it as the tabular data in the given method.
Okay, sir, I think that may answer his question. We also have encoders, auto-encoder algorithms for different types of feature extraction to add to sir's point. I hope that has been cleared for the candidate. Any other questions from participants? Okay, thank you. Due to shortage of time, if you have any queries, you can mail to our session speaker so that he may address it. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for the nice session. And information to participants, we will have 5 minutes break and we shall continue the next session. Thank you all. Participants, you can join the next session using the same link, and feedback will be collected at the end of all the sessions on 10th of October. Only attendance link will be posted for individual sessions. This is for your information. You can join the next session using the same link. Thank you.
So participants, we shall continue with our next session. So this session will be handled by Dr. Srinivasan sir. So let's have a quick intro about our resource person. Dr. Srinivasan sir received his PhD from Anna University, Chennai. His expertise in the areas deep learning, data mining, neural networks. He has published 8 articles in national and international journals. He has presented 5 papers in international conferences and also 15 papers in national conferences. He also acted as reviewer for the various journals like Science Publications and International Journal of Engineering. Now, I request Srinivasan sir to start the session.
Now is it audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is audible.
Okay. So very good evening to one and all present here. I am going to handle the session about neural network. This one down. Oh, please. Slide more. Okay. So the neural network, it has been a long learning subject. They started with how the brain. It is about the neural network is about the brain. So how the brain works, based on that, they have decided to just develop a new technology. So you know that our brain is very much capable of uh, having more memories, just remembering all things. So as the same way, they want to make the computer also to learn by themselves. So that is how this neural network has come. So they want to train the computer so that whatever the information is given as an input to the computer knows some basic algorithms and they can make a decision. But what these people are expecting is they want the computer to understand things, that how the human works. So same as they want the computer also to work as like of the brain they want. So this neural network has been started earlier in 50s and it was popular in 80s. Yeah, in 80s they just used the parallel distributed system. So that is the area where they have started this neural network. And after 90s, this has developed in different variants of form. They have taken the different forms they have taken and taken for this after 90s. That is after the different variant has come after 90s. And you can see that numerous applications has been used, like handwriting, face, speech recognition, uh, vehicles that drive themselves, sentence productions. So all these things. So handwriting, you know that you can just write whatever the information is written. So just copy the same thing, and what they want to write it as a new thing, they can do it like that. And vehicle driving themselves is that we have heard about this vehicle without a driver, right? So some countries they have introduced vehicles that is a taxi car oriented, and they don't use a driver at all. So they just fix, if you just enter into the car, there will be no driver in the driver's seat. You can just tell the car that where you want to start, where you're starting, and where is your destination. So once the destination is given, then it means that the car can drive on its own. So what will happen is they have different cameras on the top of the car, so that the car understands by taking a picture on the way any obstacles is there. So it just looks around the car. Okay, just looks around the car. Any object is coming closer, then based on that it makes the deviation. Either you take the right or right. When you want to stop, if the car is approaching nearer, then it automatically stops. So what actually the neural network does is, so it has the capability to think as of the humans. That is what this computer wants to do, right? So what will happen, right? So that they have to decide based on that. So that technology they wanted to implement in the car, so that the stopping position, how fast you want to go, if the signal is produced, then you have to stop. So all those things they just put it as a program, and based on that it does the stopping process and other things. So automatic change gear. So nowadays there is no gear at all. So they have come with the gearless vehicles, right? So there is no problem with the gears and all. So just only accelerating and brake. So that is the thing, you know. So you have, when designing this vehicle, so you need to think a lot. You have multiple ways of thinking. If an object is coming, if a child is running, if broad, uh, bar that bar line is coming, cross borders are coming. So all these things they decided earlier, and based on that they just put it in the place, so that it happens accordingly. So various numerous applications have come nowadays, right? So there is a history of this now. So we can think about brain and machine, right? So brain is enough thinking about the pattern recognition, different association, complexity, and noise tolerance. So you can see the pattern recognition. So if this is like that, then we can say that this is. So how do we say like lorry? This is lorry. How do we say? Say if it is so big enough, and if he has more wheels, then we match the patterns, right? So you say it is a lorry, or then you say bus if it has a square shaped one, and if the passenger seats are available, then you say it is an bus, right? So we have also bus and lorry, they have the same engine, but based on that designing we say that whether is it this one or that one. So you say like animals, you can see the rat and you say it is rat, right? You see the lion and tiger. So lion and tigers are same, but they have little common difference, right? They have the cortex and they have the things, right? So you just make the pattern recognition. So the human can understand the things correctly, exactly they can think, and they can associate, right? In even complexity. So complexity we mean, suppose if it is raining, we stop at home, we don't go out and drain ourselves, right? So a lot of things has been done in the rain. When you come to machine, so this computer only makes about the calculations, right? It does not do anything about, but it does the calculations. So that calculations will be more accurate, and it uses some logic and make more operations, right? Or like for example, if we think about this horoscope, right? So horoscope was there. We don't have a computer earlier, but the people just used to understand about the astrology. They studied about it, and based on that, they have just guessed this will happen, and that's what happened. So whatever that information, they just put it in their computer as a database, Once it is in a database, so then it matches the pattern. So if this is the date and this is the time, then it will say what time you born. All these signs and all these things will be fixed, right? So that is what the computer does. So more calculations that can be done faster. So when you talk about faster, we use all this machine oriented, right? So the contrast between the architecture is that, so you can see the single processing unit. So we have the brain, right? As of the brain, it can have a different CPU processing unit. So we use like chips, right? So we have only one brain, and that brain is capable of doing everything, right? So, but in computer, we can differentiate things. We can have one chip for some process. We can have another chip for some process. We can increase the chips and we can increase the programs in a computer. But whereas our brains is capable of doing only less. Like for example, if we say our brain can work a maximum of 1 day, right? We cannot just without a sleep. We cannot process anything, right? 1 day if you work, the another day definitely you need a rest. If you don't take a rest, then what happens is you cannot work on it. Your brain will not be able to think, and it will be stressed a lot. So a lot of problems will be there. But whereas in computer, it is not like that. So it is, if you have the connected power, then automatically it does everything, right? So that is the difference between that one and that brain and the computer oriented. So here we talk about the biological inspiration. So what actually happens in our brain that they wanted to be reflected in the system. So that is what they wanted. So like, for example, the brain has extensively studied by the scientists. So a lot of studies has gone through in the in this scientist has gone through the brains, so how it is working, all that. So it is because it's very complex, so it works on different person, right? So for example, if you say if a person is studying good, right, he's the topper of the class, then his brain is completely different from the person who is having scoring less mark in the class, right? So some he's better in that and he'll be poor in studies. So the brain works differently for that person and this person. Then think of how many students in the class, and they have lot of thinkings. They think different. One may be expert in doing some machine oriented work. Some may be, one may be interested in mechanical, one may be interested in aeronautics, right? So for each and everybody, the brain thinks in different way and acts in a different way, right? So that makes it very complexity for the scientist to understand things. They were not able to think how it is working and exactly. So they only had some structures. So this is what will happen, and nothing more than that. So behavior on an individual neuron is extremely complex. So I told you we have, as each person differs, right? For every person, even if you have your own close friend, your friend, and your brain working and his brain, your friend's brain working will be completely different, right? So it becomes a complexity for the scientists to study what things are going on. Then if you say simple perceptrons, so it is distributed among many neurons, right? So if you have some problem in understanding, then automatically I can say that how your cells are working. Suppose if you just cut down your hand, then automatically the cells will be moved and the blood will be coming out from your body. So what other cells does is they immediately just try to close the part where it is open to stop the blood coming from the body. So that is what this entire body is like. So what happens is they put every suppose if you want to lift one huge weight, if you're going to lift some stone, right? So if it isn't huge, then what happens is whole of your body will give the fullest energy for you to lift that particular object. So if you are going to lift a cotton, right? So it does not require that much, right? So what happens is your entire body supports in one place, and when it is not, it does not support, right? So it is distributed everywhere. So it is everywhere that we have cells. So based on that only it is working. Then localized parts, so, right? So all localized parts will come into one motion, right? So if you have some pain in your particular hand, then it means that every cells will try to stop that process, right? So entire thing will try to correct. So this we can say that's how this COVID is trying to get inside our body, right? If a COVID, so that particular virus is trying to get inside your part, then what the entire body does is it tries to fight with them, right? It tries to fight against the uh, foreign person who is coming from outside, so that it can get back to its normal position. So that is what that local parts does, right? So every parts does to just remove the virus from your body. So this is the structure of the neurons. So this one is a one neuron we have taken, right? This is one neuron, right? This one neuron consists of a lot of power, like and we say this is a cell body of a soma. Then you have a nucleus, then dendrites, then synapses, axons, right? So what actually contains of this neuron is, so it has billions of neurons in our body, right? So in our brain, it has billions of um, these neurons. So each one will act of its own. So we have shown the diagram down, right? You can see that. So you have um, neuron A, neuron B, neuron C, right? So all these neurons will be active when it is needed. If, for example, if this A neuron is capable to handle some process or some work, this will act on its own. If suppose this A is not enough for the work to be carried out, then what it will do is it will invoke the other neuron, and it will get the support of it. So likewise, you have billions of neurons in your body, right? So that anything you need, you can have a communication, and all those neurons will work together for the betterment of your working of the body. The next is learning the brain. So what you have in the brain is suppose like brain learning. So you have altering the strength between the neurons, right? So if you are not able to do, for example, you know that you will not be able to push a wall, right? So you know that, so you don't try to do that. So you so instead what you do is you just go to the door and you start pushing. If suppose we have a two door and one door is not opening, what we do is we alternate, we make the alternate, and we go for pushing the door in the next, right? So that is what our thinking is. So this is not openable, then we'll go it then another door. So that is the thing. So likewise, the neuron also alters it of its own. Okay. Then creating and deleting connections. So what happens is these neurons, whenever the energy is needed, then automatically it multiplies. It creates of its own. Whenever it is not needed, then automatically deletes some neurons that are not necessary. So in simple, we can say that. So for our body, we need to have some of vitamins, right? So whatever, if you are going to give more vitamins to your body, then it will take only the vitamins that is necessary, and it will just exclude the other vitamins as a waste, right? Then you have an helping learning, right? So helping learning is that, so we don't know if you have A and if you have a B, when A is capable of doing things, then it will do it by itself. If it is not able to do it, then it will call the B to take over the part of the work. So that is how this neuron works. And because we also say it is a long-term potentials, because whenever we need, we can increase. Suppose, for example, we say that for a work for a work like shift basis, right? Humans are working on a shift basis. So maximum they work for 8 hours, then automatically it will be shifted to an next person. So if a company is running continuously from day and night, then the person cannot work for long time. So what automatically does is, so they make a shift. So 8 hours one shift, then automatically it will be shifted to other person to carry out the work. So it is continuously doing, right? So same way this neurons also will work continuously, and it will never stop with the work, right? So if it is it has no energy, then it will just pass on to the other neuron, so that it get into the work, right? Then we have the concept called the perceptrons. So in perceptrons, so initial proposal connectedness network, right? So this is, so what happens is that we have the diagram, right? So it is a linear discriminant composed of nodes, right? So when you give an input, right? When you give an input, then automatically it will be processed and it will have an output. So whatever we are the process is going on, so we have an input, and based on that we should have an output. So that is the thing. So what is happening in between only we don't know. So each computer follows its own. Some computers follows its own. It's based on the algorithms. And so we have the input one, input two, and input three. So all these inputs are going inside one node, right? We have called as weight one, weight two, and weight three. For each input, we will give us some weights. So based on the weight, the input will be taken into the node and it will be processed, and final output will be given. Right? And final output will be given. So this is how this neurons will work, right? So this is one neuron, and this is another neuron, and I3 is the third neuron, right? So whatever the inputs are coming, then the neuron has to work on it, and it has to give an output, right? So what we do is we design accordingly. So we know that if you go and keep your hand in the fire, it will be hot, right? So immediately you take the hands from your fire. So that is the one training that we are going to give it to the brain, so that whenever you see the fire, you don't touch the fire at all, right? So that is the first training. So when you are a child, you don't know what is fire or what, you don't know. So you go and touch the fire, then automatically it's very hot, and you will recover. So that information is registered in the database. So whenever you see a fire, your that database will be tickled, and it will say that this is what will happen if you touch the fire. If you touch the water, what will happen? If you touch the ice cube, what will happen? Right? So what you do is you train them for each input. You train them that this is will happen and this will be the output. For I2, this will be there and this will be there. So like that, you can have any number of output. Right? Can have any number of output, and based on that you train the node in such a way that, so whatever is coming, then you react to what is happening. Example, if we say you're getting into your friend's house, right? If you know that, if at the first time you don't know anything, you just enter into the home if it is work. But what happens? One dog is coming and standing in front of you. So what will happen? You will start shivering, right? So whether it is going to bite you or it is going to bark at you, you don't know. Okay, so that is the first training you have with your friend's house. When you come for the next time, what will happen? You will call the friend. Hey friend, please tie the dog, then only I'll come and check. So you trained for the next time, right? So this is what things are needed for a computer. So if this is happening, then this should be done, right? So that is what we train it with the different inputs to the node, so that for every possibility you have the output. So that is the concept. right? So this is the preceptron. So this will be the input of another example I can give as an ATM, right? So if we have an ATM, so you know that when you insert the code, it will ask for the pin. If you give the pin, automatically process will be continued. So that is the normal procedure. But there are conditions that if you don't have a card number also, you can process with the account number. So that is also is there, right? So if you are not able to recognize the card, then you can also access with the account number and your pin, and you can process. So if you don't have a card. So this is the preceptron. So if the person, so at the earlier stage, what happened is only if you have the card, you can go into the ATM, you can insert the card, and you can take the amount. But nowadays, what happens is some people forget the card in the home and they come to the ATM, right? So that also happens. So what happens is they give another options so that the customer is not delayed or the customer is not wasting his time. So based on the different things. So how we are having the new um, gearless car, right? So earlier you had a clutch, you had the gear, you had the accelerator. But nowadays, what happens is some people feel it difficult that changing over the gear, and sometimes the car gets off in the middle or in the traffic, then automatically it becomes a tension. So it becomes difficult, right? Even for ladies or if, girls or ladies are driving the car, they don't want to have this gear and all these things because it is a multiple job work which will make the car to not to move and will have a lot of tension. So they brought a gearless, right? So they bought a gearless. So you have only two possibility. One is accelerator, another one is a brake. So that makes it easier for the person. So based on the technology, it is being developed and the need for the user, right? So based on that, only we develop all these things. So perceptrons. So that is what we think. Oh, what will happen if good thing happen? What will happen? If bad things happen, what will happen? So if, we all know, always know that nothing will happen, right? So when you go somewhere and if suddenly fire comes, so what will happen, right? So when designing the apartment itself, they fix different flow of water in all places so that it can be easily done when it is needed. It may not be needed for all time in all apartments. Maybe or one in 100 apartment, maybe a fire, right? So that is the principle we think what this if this happens, what should we do, right? So that's it. So we have an example here. So the input 1 and 2 is processed. So the one, so how we get the data into a value, right? So you have input 2 and input 1 with a weight 0.5 and 0.3, right? So when the data is coming, so we will have only one output, right? So we have only one output. So the output that is generated is between 0 to 1, right? So 0 to 1. So only that means that you have the good answer for the result. So here they have calculated 2 into 0.5 and 1 into 0.3 plus minus 1. So minus 1 is the value that for the particular node. So you have to calculate with that and you will have the result 0.3. So you can always see that the values is between 0 and 1, so that what we think and what the answers got will be accurately better, right? So in neural network, also we don't need to have an exact data. So exact data is not necessary. Sometimes, if we have some pattern also, so some pattern matching or an association matching, so that data also can be given. For example, we can see that if you search something in a Google, right? It does not give you an exact value, but it just matches something or associate with something and it just produces the result. So from that result, you start taking the information which is exactly needed for you. So it is not an accurate, but to matches the pattern and try to produce it as maximum accurate value it can give, right? So in this learning procedure, we can see that it is a randomly assigning weights, right? So we cannot say if we give this weight, the particular answer will come. No, we cannot say exactly. So what happens is depending on the output, right? So when you are in 12th, you can see that when you work with the chemistry lab, right? So you know that if this composition is given, then automatically this result will give. But what happens is sometimes you should add little by little so that the exact results, if you want to have, then it will be developed, right? So the same way here also you try it with a different weight. So if this weight is given, so what is the result for us? And if that weight is given, what will be the result, right? So based on that experiments, right, continuous inputs and the outputs you decide. So it is a randomly giving assignment values, and based on that you just fix the value which is accurate for you. And present input from a training data, right? So training data here we mean that so when you have a before getting into work, right? So before getting into work, we should know what things are present, right? So you train some of the values. You, if this is the value given, or for example, if you want to know how the calculator is working, right? So you just try giving 2 into 2. If it is giving 6, then the calculator is working. We have a doubt, right? So we know the value 2 into 2 is 4. So that is a known value. So when that is given, if it is giving the correct value, that means the calculator is correct, working correctly. So we cannot have 1055 into 1055. What is the answer? Even you do not know. If the calculator is giving something, you just, okay, value is given, you think, right? So you just know the value. You give with the known value. If this is the input, is it correct for the data that output is produced, right? So that is the training data we see. So you have the values. So you give the value and say whether it is correct. If this is correct, yeah, right? If 2 into 2 is correct, then it means that whatever the input that is given in the computer, that is correct for all the values, right? Since 2 into 2 is working, that thing we have already known values, right? So that is the training we are giving to the calculator, and get output on the way to give the results towards a desired output. So what result exactly you need, right? So what we do, we just go to different programmings like sttp. We have faculty development program, we have lot of seminars, we have workshops, different things are there. Why we go for, we need to know something, right? So we want to have something output, good output, right? If you know things, you learn things, right? For example, if you have the degree B, right, it means that you have learned something, so that is the output that we have. So if you have a doctor, we say that, okay, we normally what we say, if he is a doctor, we say that he is a good studying student, right? So that is what is our perception, right? If he's a doctor, you mean he is good studying, so that he got nice position in his life, right? So what is the desired output, right? So what do you expect from the calculation, right? So that is what is needed. So if that is correct, then we just fix it, right? So in learning procedures, you need to know what is the output you want to produce. So based on that only we work. So what we finally we do is we repeat this process until we get the exact value or an approximate value, or that it is nearing value. So if it is nearing to the value, then we say, okay, we stop it. Or you see that no errors are produced, or we cannot say no errors, sometimes unless errors are, if you are going to release some project. So every project that is released will have definitely have a lot of work in it, lot of correction in it. But what things are that if the person is using only that thing, then there is no problem. If he is only using other things also, only then it will create a lot of problems, right? For example, if we what we do in ATM, right? You just go inside, right? You go inside, you just put the code, pin, and you get the amount. So that is the maximum thing you are doing in ATM, right? Or sometimes what you do is you change the pin, the second option, right? Nowadays they have brought up with the deposit and deposit missing, right? So this is this third operation that you're doing. But there are a lot of operations in the ATM that we do not know it, right? So only when the when things comes into operation, then we use it, right? So what every project they do is they just check whether uh, you are producing with a less number of errors, and if that is okay, then we just give the product as released one, right? I think we are going back to the chapter. So in the learning algorithm, so one is the target value, right? So if you give the input, so what will be the result? So in AND operation, you know that what will be the result in AND operation. Yes, if you give 1 1, then only it is correct. For all other combinations, we say the value is 0, right? So 1 1 0 0 0 or 0 1 1 0, all combinations we have the value output as 0. Only for 1 1 we produce the result as a 1. So this is the target value. So whatever the input will be there, what will be the output for you, right? So that you should decide first. That output you should know. Then what type of input you will be giving, right? So what type of input? For example, if you have 2-bit values, then totally will give 4 values, right? If it is going to be a 3-bit, then it is the input is going to be increased. Different combinations will be increased, right? So what the inputs you are going to be presented in the neuron, and what weight you are going to give for each input, so that the output may differ. If you give the weight higher, then automatically the output will be higher. If you give the weight less, then automatically the output will be a lower value, right? Then we have a yellow, that is learning rate. So in learning rate, that is how quick you are able to learn. For example, we have a class for around 45 minutes, right? There are some people learn easier when compared to others. So the person who is taking good marks in your class, they will understand it easier. Or whatever we are taking class, that is enough for them. If we keep tests, then immediately they will write the test and complete it. So they have understood something, so they are quick to learn, right? But some people they don't. Sometimes they might have listened the class, but they will not be able to grasp the information into their database, right? So some will be difficult. So in our algorithm, so what neurons should do is they should quickly learn things, right? They should quickly learn things. That is for as we said, that for car manufacturing, right? In car manufacturing, so you can see that if some car is stopping, then automatically we have to go and stop at the back of the thing, right? But if suddenly if it takes some long time, say we say okay, internet failure, right? So we don't have the data transaction between the previous vehicle and our vehicle. So what will happen? Then it will go and immediately dash on the car that is in the front of you, right? So quick transaction is also needed. So quick learning is also needed. Only then the problems will not come, right? So I told you that we have, suppose if we have the input 0 for AND operation, 2-bit is given, then we have the input 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1. For all other outputs, we have 0 except for 1 1, right? So we need to adjust here. So based on the values, you can adjust and check whether you can get at least to the nearing values, right? It is not exactly cannot be 1. So we can have the values between 0 and 1. So that will be tolerated, right? How we can say. We just predict the weathers, right? So if it is cool today, what will happen? If it is so hot today, what will happen? So we cannot exactly say, okay, today is very hot, so rain will come. Sometimes it may rain, sometimes it won't rain. Sometimes if it is very cool, then we see that okay, that is very cool, so automatically the rain will come. So it is all about that percentage of value, right? We cannot sit exactly say okay, it is not going to rain, it is rain. No, it cannot be done, right? So we only have a random values. So based on that only the things will happen. So how will you train the algorithms, right? So we say this is, if this is happening, then what happens? as we, for maximum, we have computer, we have if condition. If this is correct, then what should be done? If this is wrong, what should be done? Right? So likewise, you have to train the algorithm so that the neural networks understands all the possibilities of good things and all the possibilities of bad things. So only if the algorithm is understood, then it will proceed on the things. You know that if you're going to jump from the first floor, you may have some wounds, right? If you're going to jump from second floor, what will happen? If you're going to jump from third floor, fifth floor, right? So these are the possibilities. So if you go the higher, you will be no more. If you come the lower, you will be more, right? So that is what. So you should adjust and train the algorithm. So whatever things happen, so you will know what will be done. Then also you should give sample patterns, right? So if this is happening, this will be the result. So that sample patterns you should know. And the purpose to learn to generate, that is, you should generate the algorithm for both the good conditions as well as the bad conditions, right? So if this is happening, so what should be done, right? So every apartments, they have the fire extinguisher. So it doesn't mean that it is going to fire, right? But they need to have the fire extinguisher. Whenever some problems comes, then it gets exhausted, right? So in every petrol tanks, you can see that they will have definitely the fire extinguisher, right? Whereas in households, they don't have any fire extinguisher. They also use fires. But in petrol bunk, if something happens, the damages are more. So they have the fire extinguisher. So it is necessary that fire extinguisher is needed everywhere. But based on the situation, we just conclude. So exactly we should need. Sometimes we say we don't need it in our code. I think we are going back. Okay. So I told you know this how this AND operation will work, and how based on that input and output, how the result will be there. So maximum value that is between 0 and 1 will be accepted, right? So the values between 0 and 1 will be accepted, and less than that we don't maximum accept the data, right? So that will give a wrong result when you have the more values or the result values. So they always fix it between the 0 to 1, and this is what that is. Okay. Then the next concept is the multi-layer perceptrons. So what happened actually is we have one stage, right? So if you want to go out from your home, what you will whom you will get permission? You will go to your father or mother. You will get a permission and you will go. Right? That is the one-step process. Suppose if you are in the college, right, and you want to go out, so what happens? If you are in the class, you have to get the permission from the particular tutor. Then the tutor will say go and meet the HOD. Then the HOD will say if it is very serious, he may take a decision. If he is not able to take a decision, then he will send to the HOD to make a decision. So likewise, so in a multiple layer perceptron, so you have the first input you will be generating, and you will have the adjustable weight, right? Sometimes this may work, this one may work for a particular decision. Sometimes this second node may be helpful to make a decision. Sometimes this third node will be able to make a decision. So depending upon the input that you're giving, then the output will be generated, right? So you may have a single nodes, or you may have a multiple nodes. So based on the inputs, if the more inputs are there, then you can generate a different nodes, so that it will not be busy all the time, right? So we can have also multiple layer also you can have. Then concept is back propagation. So in back propagation, so we know what actually we do is So in back propagation, what we do is, so normal procedure is we give the input, the process will be done, then you will have the output, right? So that is the common procedure, right? In back propagation, so based on the output you need, right? For example, if you want to get above 90% in your class, right, then what you need is you need to work harder, right? So in the first semester, right, in the first semester, if you work, right, if you're going to just work, and you after the result of the first semester, you can say, okay, only 60% is your result, right? So what you have given the input, based on that, the value and the output given is 60, right? Now the condition is different. What you need in the second semester is you want to get above 90%, right? So that means you have fixed the output now, right? You want the output as 90%. That means you have to work from the, so you aim for 90, that means the valuations should be corrected properly, and that means you have to study lot, right? You have to read lot, you have to study lot, you have to write and see all those things. Procedure, if you do, then it will be, your result will be obtained. So in some instance, after the result of the second semester, you can see that only 70% you have got. Then what it means that you need to work little more harder. So then you come back again to the next semester, you work little more harder, then go to the work, and then finally you try to find. So this is the back propagation. So after getting the result, you feel that it is not satisfied, right? Then you go back again and you start working. If you are satisfied, then that is okay, right? So the back propagation, depending upon the output you need, you have to work on the basis. So how the algorithms will be generated, right? The algorithm is not giving the accurate result, then you have to go back to the coding process again, and you have to make some setup or change some setups, so that the result is going to be produced as a good one, right? So that you have a back propagation process. So what are the applications? We have totally 20 slides. No problem. I think we will be able to complete on time. Okay. So the applications we are using. So what are the applications that is using? It is where they are useful, right? So application one is that you have a complex mapping concepts, right? So you know that it is the scientist has also said that it is very difficult to study about in one single about single brain, right? Because we cannot go ahead with only one devices, because lot of brains are there and lot of brains are acting in their different ways, right? So it becomes a complex, so it becomes a complex problem, right? So for that you have to work out. Then it is difficult to analyze, so nobody knows what will happen, right? So we cannot say for ATM all will come for only taking money. Some robbers also come to the ATM to take the money from the ATM also. That is also is possible. Okay. 1 minute. Any more? Okay, okay. Okay, fine. Then you have a limited understanding. So if you understand the concept, every concept is exactly this is what is needed, then we can exactly give the algorithm for all the designs. But we cannot understand exactly, sometimes it changes, right? So in previously we only go to the college, we only studied in the college, so whatever the tutor says we follow. But now what happens, everything becomes online. It's entirely different in this for 6 months, right? So entirely different. You're staying in the home, we are teaching from here, you're writing the test with no supervisors. So entirely is changing, so each time it keeps on changing. So you want to that neural network to design of its one thing. So more example I can give is this our COVID virus, right? So when you give for particular treatment, then automatically it changes in different ways. Whereas in India, the virus is different, and in America, the virus is different, and in China, it is different, right? So we don't know what is happening in itself. So we cannot exactly decide for one vaccines, right? So if it is in one single problem, it is easy to give a vaccine. If it is continuously changing, then how we can give the vaccine? Then we have to, it is very difficult, right? We have to design the vaccine again and again. So that will be difficult, right? So that is limitation of understanding. Also, it becomes a problem. Then another example I can give is in engine management, right? In engine management, you know that if a car is running, the temperature has to be kept as normal, and fuel should be there, and air moisturizer, lubricant viscosity. So we know only that the car is moving from one place to another place. No, but what interior part is that it has every different part. Think just if brake is not working, what will happen? If clutch is not working, what will happen? Right? If accelerator is not working, what will happen? If the gear is not working, what will happen? If the reverse gear is not working, what will happen? If the tire is punctured, what will happen? So you have multiple things, right? You have multiple parts in the car. If everything is working correctly, only then the vehicle will move. If there is a problem, if there is an increase in temperature, right, continuous increase in temperature, and the driver is not monitoring that, then automatically engine will blast off, right? That is how this some vehicles get fired, because they don't monitor the temperature. If the temperature is higher, then automatically the car will burst, right? So that is the concept. So all these things has to work together. So that is why we say, why we call it as neural network, means all network should work correctly, right? So here I am talking here, my network is correct, but if somebody's network is low or it is not working, then you cannot hear it, right? If somebody from other state, they are not able to connect with the internet, then automatically there will be a problem, right? If my network is not clear and it is poor, then nobody will understand anything, right? So unless you just call to us and say, or you message and say yes, right? So that is what if neural, we say it, every part should be interlinked and it should work together, only then the process will be concept. If any problem is there, then automatically it has to switch over. For example, if the particular network is not working, then what happens is, in Google, I think is, then automatically they'll shift the information from that network to another nearer network, so that the data is being available continuously, right? So this is how the networks are going, right? So this is another example I just want to give you, that is having a driverless car. So this is nowadays it is booming. So in some countries they also have come out with the taxis without a driver. So you know how we drive the car. Even the front sitting in the front person who is driving, he will always be in tension, because nobody knows who will come in for and who will make sudden break, and somebody will come from left side, or somebody will come from right side, or some people will come and hit the vehicle from back side. So accidents are prone, right? So everywhere accidents are done. All humans know that this is what will happen, right? But what happens, you think, if it is a driverless car, then think of it, right? I do not know, even if we only drive in that car, we'll have that, I think, right? So if this is the car, then if everybody is driverless, then no problem, because all will sense together, and they will decide not to go or not to come. But think of us, we just driving on the road. If some auto wala or some minibus comes, they immediately stop. Minibus stop in the middle of the road. They don't do anything. Middle of the road, they stop. In the auto rickshaw walas, they immediately take the left turn and right turn, right? So that is all difficult even for humans to manage. But think how they have designed this driverless car. So that means how many eyes they have kept in a car. You think front eyes, back eyes, left eyes, right eyes, how many sensors they would have fixed, right? All these seminars should work together. All this network, we say it as network, right? All this network should work together. Only then we can connect. Only the one, only then the driver can drive. If any one thing is, if front sensor is not working, then what will happen? It will not sense the vehicle in the front of you. Then automatically it will go on dash, right? So for a single thing, they have designed a lot of things, right? So this is what the neural working is here. If one part is failure, then it has to take up by some other part, and it has to see that it has to be worked. So as we have that in flight, right? So in flight we can see that we have two engines, right? If one engine is fault, then automatically they turn on to the another engine. Only then they can run. Think if they have only one engine, then what will happen? Then all has to go, right? So that is the thing. So we neural networks, we have all possibilities. We have to think of all possibilities, so that anything happens, it has to be taken over by the another process, right? So okay, one more slide to go. So neural networks, so as I told you, so neural network is how our brain thinks on different stages, right? So if you're raining, okay, we cut the class. If it's not raining, we go to the class. So you make a decision. Some people should think, oh, today's exam, even if it's raining, I have to go on, right? So the thing is different, right? So during exam, you have to go. If it is not an exam, you don't need to go. So we have many parameters to be set in neural networks, right? It is not the one thing. It is not the one thing. Okay, this is the input, this is the output. No, we cannot say like that. So neural network, we have many parameters around us. So you have to work with all the parameters, right? You have to see, if it is raining, what is your decision? Okay, if it is not raining, what is your decision? Today is a function at home, what is your decision? Function at home and college, what is your decision, right? So lot of parameters has to be given to see that the neural networks get into a result, right? So to produce a one output, you should think of all possibilities and then finally provide. Then overfitting. So that is, if you work for 2 hours, 2 days continuously, just think. On the other day, definitely you won't get up from the bed, right? So overfitting. If you cannot just fit in all things into one algorithm, so what we do is we just cut into different batches, right? So batch one, like a project, right? So if you have one big project, then you make it to modules and give it to everybody. Not each one will not be responsible for an entire project. So if you do like that, then it becomes an overfitting and it cannot work, right? So same as the neural network also, you cannot give every concept into a one node, right? You have to differentiate into different nodes, so that each node takes care of itself and proceed the result, right? You cannot overfit it. Then long training is needed. So you have to train everything, right? If it is if you are the child, just think how your moms will be asking you to walk. You walk with a trolley, or you walk with your fingers, right? They catch with your finger and you make them walk, right? So you have a different possibilities, right, to work on it, right? So that is a long uh, training we need. So you need to train the entire application, whether it is for a good cause or whether it is a bad cause, right? So all those things you have to train, and then only the final output will be produced successfully. I think this is the last my slide. Okay, I thank you for all the persons for listening to me patiently. I know how it is very difficult in the afternoon session to sit up for. I think you are sitting for the whole day, right? So, and you have your daily classes also. Okay, fine. Thanks for listening. And if you have any queries, just chat on with the chat box.
Sir, thank you for the wonderful session and thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. So participants, if you have any queries, kindly post in the chat box. Participants, if you have any doubt, you can post it in the chat box. So thank you for the valuable session, sir. So we can wind up now. So tomorrow the session starts at 9:30. So I request all the participants to log in the Zoom meeting before 5 minutes itself. And thank you everyone, and you can leave now. Thank you.
என்னங்க மேடம் क्वेश्चन கேட்கலையா?
No questions.
நீங்க பேசுறதெல்லாம் எனக்கு ஒண்ணும் கேட்கல. நான் பேசுறதெல்லாம் கேட்டுச்சா கேட்கலையா? ஆனா நீங்க பேசுறது எனக்கு ஒண்ணும் கேட்கல. எனக்கு கேட்டுக்கணும்ல?
Thank you everyone. Kindly fill the attendance link which I have posted in the chat box. And for those who have asked the morning attendance link, the morning attendance link has been closed. So kindly fill the attendance for afternoon session. And for tomorrow's session, the session starts at 9:30 at sharp. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Sure, we will be sharing the PPT shortly. It's okay if you didn't fill the morning attendance form. Kindly fill the afternoon attendance form. Kindly fill the attendance for current session. And for those who don't have the participant ID, we will be sending you shortly. And please join for tomorrow's session at 9:30 sharp. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir?
Sir, I have joined the program today itself. Can you please provide me the participant ID?
Sir. Sir, இருங்க ஒரு நிமிஷம். இல்லைங்க சார், மேல போயிருக்காங்க. சார் இன்னும் யாரும் போகல.
போட்டாச்சு விக்கெட்ஸ் அவங்க போட்டா நீங்க மயிலாயும் விக்கெட்ஸ் சொல்லலாம் நிச்சயம் வீலர் போட்டாச்சு
முடிச்சுட்டு வரேங்க.
என்னாச்சு? நீ எதுக்கு இதை டிஸ்ப்ளே பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க?
உங்களை கேட்டு ப்ளீஸ் செக் ரெக்கார்டிங். ஓகே வில் டேக் இன்டு அக்கவுண்ட்னு சொல்லிட்டா. ஓகே சார்.
ஓகே சார், அவ்வளவுதான். ரெக்கார்டிங் போட்டியாடா?
இத இப்போ என் பண்ணிட்டாங்க.
ஆமா, என் பண்ணதுக்கு ரெக்கார்டிங் அதுல ஒரு 5 நிமிஷம் ஆகும். இது என்விடி போறானா எல்லாரும் ஓடி போயிடுவாங்க. அவ்வளவுதான், போட்டு
2 கொடுத்துட்டா.
ஆமாடா.